Okay, is everybody ready?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
We are ready.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
We're ready.
All right, let's take a breath and let's see if we can like take the rest of the day and put it aside. Let's see if we can take the rest of the day and put it aside in the course of love. And we're talking about devotion. So I'm gonna do a little 5-minute centering. So just close your eyes if you don't mind and just relax. Pay attention or don't pay attention, it's okay, just relax. Devotion is inclusive. Devotion is inclusive. Devotion is inclusive. Devotion is inclusive. Devotion implies a subject, and devotion implies an object. One who is devoted and one who is the object of devotion. One who is devoted and one who is the object of devotion. While we are moving away from subject-object relationships to the relationship of unity, the idea of one who is devoted and of those for whom devotion is practiced, this is useful. Devotion is useful during the time of tenderness. Devotion is useful during the time of tenderness. Devotion will lead to the understanding of oneness. Devotion will lead to the understanding of oneness as completion. Oneness is completion, which is an understanding of giving and receiving as one. Giving and receiving are 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 one. Devotion is inclusive. So we're going to continue talking about devotion. And it's going to be on page 217. There's one extra loaner copy up here if someone wants to use it. And please remember to leave the ones that you're using, please. I'm reading paragraph 25.9. And 25.9 is devotion leads to harmony through action. 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 Devotion is possible for you now only if you have integrated the most basic teachings of this course. And how can you tell when you have integrated the most basic teachings of this course? You no longer feel duped by life. So if you no longer feel duped, you're beginning to get the basic teachings of the course. All of your contest of will, I love that. All of your contest of will are supported by your contention that you have been misled. It is as if you have paid your ticket. It's as if you have paid for your ticket. It's as if you have paid for your ticket, arrived for the concert, and have been told your ticket is not valid. It's as if you've been paid. It's as if you have paid for your ticket, arrived for the concert, and have been told that your ticket is not valid. This makes you angry. This anger is reenacted in thousands of different scenarios in your life one day after another day, and year after year, until you realize and truly believe the basic tenets this course has put forward. To be in concert, just as to perform a concert, to be in concert is contingent on harmony. Being in concert, it is being in agreement about the purpose for which you are here and your entitlement to be fully present here. I'll say it again. To be in concert, it is being in agreement about the purpose for which you are here and your entitlement to be fully present here. If you still believe you are here to acquire some perceived ideal separated state, I repeat, if you still believe you are here to acquire some perceived ideal separated state, then all action will be out of harmony. All action will be out of harmony if you still believe that you're just here to acquire some perceived ideal separated state. I'm separate, and I'm going to have this great separated state. I'm going to be rich and separate. I'm going to be happy and separate. I'm going to be loved and separate. I'm going to be successful and separate. I'm going to have the greatest house in the world and separate. I'm going to have the best car in the world and separate. As long as I think it's all about me being in some type of a perceived ideal state, separate from you, separate from you, separate from you. Me becoming happy, separate from you. Me being abundant, separate from you. Me experiencing love, separate from you. I will be out of harmony. I will be out of harmony. And it says, if, however, you have accepted the basic tenets of this course, what does that mean? If you have accepted the basic tenets of this course, you believe you are here to realize unity, then all action will be in harmony. I am not here to realize some great perceived separated state. I'm really here to realize my unity, my oneness. I'm really here to recognize and realize my oneness. I'm really here to recognize my oneness. Your prosperity and abundance does not depend on the debt ceiling.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Your peace and harmony does not depend on the stock market, the real estate market, Republicans, independents, or Democrats. We are here to realize our unity with each other. We're not here to have a perceived, idealized, separate state that's happy, separate from everybody else. It's not a sin, it's not bad, if that's the way you think, why you think you're here. But the Course is saying that's why you feel duped. That's why you feel out of harmony. That's why you feel things aren't going right. That's why you're upset about one thing or another. Because he says our purpose is not the correct purpose. You don't have to believe this. I'm not trying to convert anybody. I'm not trying to convince anybody. I'm not trying to get you to believe something you don't want to believe. Okay? I'm just saying what the Course is saying. If we're out of harmony, not because of the stock market, we're out of harmony because we don't realize our true purpose, we don't realize our true function, we don't know who we really are, and we still think we are human beings alone and not unlimited spiritual beings. We're unlimited spiritual beings inhabiting a physical body. We are unlimited spiritual beings inhabiting a physical body. We're unlimited spiritual beings who think we are men and women. We're unlimited spiritual beings who believe we are white, black, Hispanic, Chinese. We are unlimited spiritual beings who think that it's about our own individual happiness above everybody else's, maybe. And he says that's what's creating the out of harmony state. We don't have to believe that. You know what I'm saying? It's like me saying I'm Earl Purdy, but you don't have to believe that. But whether or not you believe that, does it have anything to do with the truth of it? Absolutely not. Isn't that great to know that your belief has nothing to do with the truth of anything? Isn't it great to know that your belief really doesn't affect anything that's true whatsoever? If it's true whether you believe it or not, it's true. Your belief doesn't have anything to do with making something true. Be with that just for a minute with me. Somebody could be loving you completely, and just because you don't believe it doesn't have anything to do with the truth of their love for you. Did you know that?
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we actually think that something isn't true unless we think it's
Yeah,
true. It's like
right.
as if we are the arbiters of what is reality.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
and so you'll be glad one day that you are not the creator of reality.
Yeah.
You'll be so glad. Did you imagine
No.
how screwed we would be if we were? If we actually were the ones in charge, I mean, can you get some idea of how messed up we would be if it really was the limited perceptions that we have of each other in reality that was guiding us? If you believe that you and your brothers and sisters are here in a state of reprisal, if you believe that you and your brothers and sisters are here because you've fallen from grace, then all your actions will be out of harmony. You have not fallen from grace. 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 You are not a sinner. You are not sinful. You are not guilty permanently. You're not guilty, period. You make mistakes, I make mistakes, we make mistakes. We make mistakes, we make mistakes, we make mistakes. Mistakes are for correction, not punishment. Mistakes are for correction, not punishment. Mistakes are for correction, not punishment. Punishment isn't correction. Punishment isn't correction. If I think 4 and 4 is 12, and you smack me upside my head as punishment for saying 4 and 4 is 12, I still don't know that 4 and 4 is 8. Punishment hasn't corrected anything. Punishment doesn't correct anything. Punishment doesn't correct anything. You have not fallen from grace. If you think you've fallen from grace, you will be out of harmony. If you believe you and your brothers and sisters are here in a state of reprisal, having fallen from grace, then all action will be out of harmony. If you believe that you and all other human beings are here in a state of grace, then all your actions will be in harmony. I believe we're here in a state of grace. Innocence is your natural state. 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 You are in a state of grace. You are in a state of grace. You are in a state. Why do you think I'm saying this over and over again? Who can tell me why you think I'm saying this over and over again?
Yeah.
How else are we going to get it?
Repetition.
Repetition. Repetition. Do you have to believe it? Of course not. If we already believed it, there would be no need to repeat it. So belief isn't necessary. Repetition is. How do you think you got to believe what you already believe? Repetition. What happened from the moment you were born? Did not everybody begin to describe reality to you?
Yeah.
Did they not tell you what was true, what was false, what was valuable, what was not valuable, what was real, what was not real? So the truth is, wouldn't you think then that the reality that we know more than anything else is a description that's been pounded into us from the day we were born?
Yep.
Yeah. Suppose that description, suppose everything that you were told was absolutely incorrect. It would pretty much explain the world as we see it. Wouldn't it? Because the result lets you know that we don't know what's this much fear, this much conflict, this much separation, this much opposition, this much pain, this much sickness, this much lack. I know your personal experience might be fine, but you actually live in a greater reality than your own personal bubble. All right? So that means that just because you had a good day, it doesn't mean everybody else had a good day. And because you have food to eat tonight, it doesn't mean everybody else has food to eat tonight. In this world, there are what's perceived to be lack, attack, famine, murder, killing, as well as love, peace, truth, harmony. So when you look at it that way, then it's easy to say something is out of harmony. Right? So that means that there's something that we've been taught that must not be true, or the result will be giving us harmony. Doesn't that make sense?
Yes.
How can we be doing it right and have so much fear going on in the world? Okay, so it's just, so all it's saying to us is this: I'm to the point that I really want to take a look at whatever in my life that's keeping me from experiencing harmony. And I'm determined that I'm not going to do it by being Pollyanna, and I'm not going to do it by being a bliss ninny, and I'm not going to do it by not being willing to look at all aspects of consciousness, right? So I'm not going to pretend that I feel peace all the time. I don't. I'm not going to pretend I love everybody. I don't. I'm not going to pretend that I feel unlimited. I don't always feel unlimited. So there's some level that's out of harmony. And whatever is making me feel that way, I need to take a look at it within myself, bring it up to my awareness so I can dissipate it, not pretend I don't have it so that I'll think I'm where I'm not, and then have my world show me that I am deceiving myself. Right? Right? Okay. So, da-da, it's you, and then there's the world, but the core truth is saying, well, all the world is just a part of your own mind that you're not owning. Isn't that deep? That the truth says that what you look outside of yourself and see is merely your own denied thought. So all the thoughts you deny become the world you live in. All the thoughts you deny that you have in your mind become the world that you live in. All the thoughts you're denying that's in your mind become the world that you live in. So, let's take it even deeper. Is it possible that you're denying really loving, cool, abundant, wonderful thoughts?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right. So, you can also see your own denied loving thoughts, as well as you can see your own denied fearful thoughts. Your denied loving thoughts are the wonderful experiences and people in your life that you wonder if you deserve them. In other words, if it looks like there are people in your life treating you better than you think you deserve to be treated, or they're blowing you away with how well they treat you, or it looks like you got these really cool people and sometimes you wonder why they're around you, then that's your own denied loving thoughts about yourself that you're not owning yet. Interesting. Interesting. So you have a lot of love that you are not owning. And the loving people in your life are reflecting that back to you. So they as much represent the kind of person you are in your mind as the people that it looks like you don't particularly care about. Because whatever you deny has to be there for you to deny. The denial of God actually is the witness to the belief in God. The denial of your wealth is a witness to the fact that you believe you have wealth. You have to deny something to deny it. So to deny it, the Course says you believe in it. Interesting. These are just thoughts I'm throwing out. Not that you have to believe them, not that you have to accept them, not that you have to welcome them at all. Okay, hold on just a second. I'll be glad to answer in just a minute. So here's the question. Not whether or not you believe what I just said, not even whether you understand what I just said. The question is, would you like to side with the idea that you have love that you're denying that you could see that's really you? All right. Okay. That's what the Course called belief. Belief, it says to believe is to side with. And I said, well, that's pretty deep. I used to think to believe something had to do with credibility of it. And the Course is saying to believe something, that means you're willing to side with that idea. So even if you don't understand how you could experience a completely blissful life, would you like to side with the idea of you having a completely blissful life? Okay, that's your responsibility, is to say, yes, I side with that idea, because it takes a joining to create anything, so you have to join with an idea that you like to see manifest. How do we delay ourselves? Well, we delay ourselves by trying to figure things out rather than siding with the idea that we like to see manifest. So we spend our time trying to analyze and figure out things, and the truth is saying what you do is you side or decide or choose. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about, and I'm going to throw it open in a minute. There's some main points I want to get across. In the way of mastery, one of the things that is very powerful is that it says, merely look with the wonder of a child and see what it feels like and ask yourself, is this an energy I want to continue in, or would I choose something else? I'll say it again. You look at your life and the way you feel right now. Don't go into, why did I create it? How did I create it? Who did it? Did I do it? Did my cousin do it? Okay? Forget that stuff.
Yeah.
It ain't about that. It's look at it with the wonder of a child.
Right.
See what you're feeling like right now. See what you're feeling like it with your sense of self. See what you're feeling like with your financial situation. See what you're feeling like in your relationship situation. See what you're feeling like in your job situation. See what you're feeling like in your health situation. See what you're feeling like in your physical situation. And what you do is you ask yourself, is this an energy I wish to continue in? I like that. Is this a feeling I wish to continue in, or would I choose something else? That's the question that brings about the healing, that changes the situation that you're unhappy about. Not the analyzation of it, but asking yourself, do I want to keep going through this crap anymore? Is this something I want to continue in, or do I want something else? Now, it's the seriousness within our mind that creates the ego. It's the seriousness within our mind that creates the ego. It's the seriousness within our mind that creates the fear. The fear comes from the seriousness within our mind. The seriousness. Now, I don't know about you, but I have a tendency to want to get serious about my issues, and serious about my problems, and serious about everything. Have you noticed that there's a lot of serious people? And they tend to have very serious problems. Hello? So it's saying to us, choose to withdraw the attention and the value you have placed upon all things as you learn to simplify the nature of your own consciousness. Simplify the nature of your own consciousness. Surrender into something that seems to be beyond you. Surrender into something that seems to be beyond you. Surrender into something that seems to be beyond you. Entertain the insane idea of trusting something you can't see. Entertain the insane notion of trusting the invisible, and you come more and more to be less and less. It's time to come more and more to be less and less by simplifying your consciousness, by asking the question, is this an energy that I would choose to continue in, or am I ready for something else? Are you 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 ready? Are you ready? Are you ready for something else? Okay, whatever it is you think you're upset about right now in any area of your life, go, golly, that was a real interesting creation. Golly, that was a real interesting creation. Golly, that was a real interesting creation. That relationship that made you want to commit suicide. Golly, that was a real interesting creation. Golly. It was an example of an infinite being learning the power of their own creativity through trial and error. Isn't that something? Now, do I want to continue in this, or am I ready for something else? So if you believe one living thing is more important than any other living thing, if you believe one living thing is more important than any other, then all action will be out of harmony. If you believe all are essential, then all action will be in harmony. So how does that work out? If I think one of you is more important than any other of you, then I am out of harmony. If I realize I need all of you equally, I am operating from harmony. Does it seem like there's a lot of disharmony in the world?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. in the world, is it a popular belief that one person is more important than another? Yes. See, right. In other words, we get the result of what it's saying, then we wonder. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm in a world where one thing is more important than another, and I tend not to see everything as equally valuable, yet I'm also seeing a world that seems to be out of harmony. So maybe harmony comes from realizing that each one of you are essential to me. Each one of you are valuable to me. Whether I see you or not, whether you're in my personal life or not, whether or not we have a special relationship with each other or not, you're still equally valuable. You are just as valuable as the people that I do have a personal relationship with, who I do think I have a special relationship with, who I do think I spend all my time with. That's the truth. I might not feel like it, I might not act like it, but that doesn't change the fact that it's true. Don't forget now, your belief is not the arbiter of what's real. So it doesn't make it true because we believe it. And it doesn't make it untrue because we don't. Does that make sense? Yes. Just because I believe one person is more important to me than another person, that's entirely possible that I believe that. But it has nothing to do with the truth of it. The truth of it, I need each and every one of you equally. And if I believe that, it says my life would be in harmony. Might be explaining why I don't have harmony in every area of my life. Because you know what? I don't believe that each one of you are equally important to me as everybody else is important to me that I personally know. So now I know where I need to start. I need to start with the realization that you're all equally important to me, whether I think so or not. Because the person that's most important to me is actually the person that I think can meet my imagined needs. That's why I singled you out in the first place. Because I thought there was something about you that could meet some need that I have. That's why I singled you out in the first place. Or else each one of you would be equally important to me. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
You know, why do you pick one person out over another person when you come into a group? Why are you attracted to one person more than another person in a group setting? One person is reminding you of the past. One person is somebody that I see that has the potential to satisfy some kind of need that I have, even if it's the need to have companionship, even if it's the need to have somebody to talk to, even if it's the need to have some kind of partner, even if it's the need to have some kind of romantic sexual exchange, even if it's a need to receive some kind of knowledge. It's something about you that I think is going to fulfill some need that I have more than anybody else in the room that makes me single you out. And so I am now out of harmony because I need each one of you equally. For what? To remind me of the truth, to remind me of who I really am, to remind me of love, to remind me of what's real. That's where I need each one of you equally. I don't need each one of you equally to help me change my tire. You see what I'm saying? Where we need each other equally is in the realization of the love that we are, in the truth that we are, in the oneness that we are. Our personal needs is all this stuff of I need a mate, I need a partner, I need somebody, I need a da-da-da-da-da. That's the personal. Remember the personal needs of the separated self? Right. Yeah, so I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the one need we all share, which is the realization of the love that we are, and the unity that we are, and the connection that we have, and the beauty that we are, the truth that we are, the power that we are. This is what keeps us in harmony, is to realize it's unity that is our real need. To know our connection is our real need. You having me move next Saturday, that's not the ultimate need of mankind. You know what I'm saying? You follow me?
Yeah.
Personal interests have nothing to do with the universal will.
But I still want you to go shopping with me, all of you.
Right. And whatever, it's nothing wrong with you having your personal interests. It just realize that your personal interests are only yours.
What was that thing you said about entertain the insane notion?
Yeah, entertain the insane notion that you could actually trust something that's invisible that you don't see. Right. Trust the insane notion that there could be something greater than you that you could surrender to, that could guide you or help you or bless you. You know, when I went to went back to Memphis for the funeral of my brother-in-law, who was like a father to me. The one thing that I loved about going to Southern churches, Baptist churches, That's so refreshing that you don't experience mostly in the New Age, New Thought community. Because we're going to analyze our way into God.
Yeah.
We're going to intellectualize our way into infinite intelligence. Well, we're going to all figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And we're getting information so that we can do it better on our own. That's not the same as believing in a higher power. Okay, like if I'm sitting up here tonight listening solely in terms of what is the information he's going to give me so I, by myself, can now handle the situations that I'm going through better, you're missing the whole point. You're missing the whole point. You're missing the whole point. The point is for you to realize you're in the situation you're in right now because you've been in charge of it. That the dilemma that you're having such a hard time with is because you are in charge of it. So what I loved about it was I was around people who had a total faith in, it appeared to be a total faith in God. That they believed that my brother-in-law was not his body and that he had gone to another reality that was much more loving and he was in the hands of God or Jesus or Christ, and that through the faith that they have in that power, there's nothing that happens in their life that they cannot get guidance from or about. And I'm listening, I'm watching that and I'm listening to that. And I thought about the peace of mind that that point of view must give a person.
Yeah.
The peace of, and not only that, but it's the truth. The truth is, this is not the ultimate reality. The truth is, my brother-in-law was not the body that was lying in the casket. Right. The truth is, we did not create ourselves. The truth is that many of us got fearful religious beliefs when we were children and experienced some type of religious abuse around the whole God issue, and the temptation was to throw away the baby with the bathwater, which means I threw away the whole concept of God because I didn't like the one I was brought up with. So I'll come to a spiritual class and don't want you to even talk about God in a spiritual class. I don't want you to talk about a higher power in a spiritual class. I used to have all kinds of resistance like that. I don't know about you, but I very much did. And so it's telling me that, you know, if just for a second, if you were willing to entertain the idea that what you are rebelling against is not the Creator, but what you learned, what you were taught, what you have taught yourself, which might not have nothing to do with the truth of the Creator and the love of the Creator and your ability to be helped. So I want to increase the idea that I am not alone and that there is a divine intelligence greater than me that I can get in touch with that can guide me, much more than coming together for a group to come together so that we can figure it out more about how we can handle things on our own. Right. You know, me personally. So I believe all of you are essential. I believe all of you are essential. And when as I set that purpose of realizing that you all are essential, my life, I will be in more harmony. Now, what was your question? You had a question first.
Can't ask it anymore.
Okay. If it comes back to you, let me know. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, when you were saying about, like, we were talking about like the feeling rebellious of the things that you were taught. That's in a state where I'm at right now, where I'm having a lot of anger towards myself because I still keep believing the stuff that I was brought up with, and I know it's wrong. And so I'm angry with myself. And so then what I'm doing is because I'm not being patient with myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I'm doing then is that I'm projecting that out to everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, everyone else is still holding me to that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a projection of my anger
Mm-hmm.
towards myself.
Mm-hmm.
And like, this is gonna be a convoluted question, but like, my thinking comes into this. And as you know, thinking is part of my makeup.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like get very frustrated because I find myself a lot of times now saying, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
God decide for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But still I find myself, the mind's still going.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all, I just don't know.
So what's your question?
So my question is,
Mm-hmm.
like, I guess my question is that you know, when you're talking about the rebellion, yeah, I'm just feeling rebellious, and I know that it's because I'm mad at myself.
Okay.
And I keep asking, you know, God for correction about that.
You just ran it down, though. You just answered your own question about 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
You said that you knew it was a part of you that was making you feel that way, and you're in the process of realizing that that's not true. Is that right?
Right.
Okay, we just keep doing that. That's the answer. To continue to give yourself the truth,
Sure.
even while there's a part of you that feels like it's crazy and you still get upset and all that. It's about giving yourself the truth, even instead of, in addition to your mind talk. It's not. There would be no need for you to study the truth if you were already at a state where you had absolutely no conflict within you. So to realize that you're learning the truth, and we've talked about this many times, but whether you realize it or not, you ask the same question all the time. Okay, and I'm not saying it to insult you. I'm saying that in order for you to realize that the one issue that you keep bringing up is the fact that even though you're studying the truth, you still sometimes see the residue of your old way of thinking. And the answer is always the same, which is allow yourself to have all your thoughts and to know that it's normal for you to have these thoughts while you're learning how to have new thoughts. That it's okay. You're going to do that while you're learning.
And it's normal then to have all the accompanying messy feelings that go with it?
Exactly. If you already knew how to have complete peace in every situation, isn't it true that there would be no need for you to study? Right. So why would you expect yourself to already be at the perfected state that you are really trying to learn how to achieve? It would be more loving. It would be actually more loving to just accept that you have decided the direction you want to go in, which is the direction of peace and love for yourself. And actually, that's the only thing you've been required to do. The Course teaches that the only thing the Spirit wants us to do is to decide to go in the direction of love. It's not about us taking ourselves to love. It's not even about us figuring out how to get to love. Our responsibility is to become teachable. Our responsibility is to become willing to move in that direction that we're trying to go in without wanting to be right more than we want to be happy.
Yeah.
You know, you got to let go of the desire to be right if you ever want to be happy. You got to let go of the desire to be right if you ever want to be happy. You have to let go of the desire to be right if you ever want to be happy, because what you think you're right about is what's already created the situation you're in is what you think is right.
Right.
So the way to get to happiness is actually to hope that you're wrong.
Sure.
Right. It's like,
Sure.
I hope I'm wrong about what I believe about relationships. Why? Because I haven't had a relationship that was really happy and fulfilling for me. I hope I'm wrong what I believe about finances and abundance,
Right.
because I'm not experiencing the kind of abundance that I think I'd like to have. I want to be wrong when I'm not happy. When I'm not happy, Lord, please help me want to be wrong. I don't want to be right and miserable. If I'm right and miserable, there's nowhere for me to go if I'm right. So you don't want to be right if you're miserable right now. Hear me, brothers and sisters. You don't want to be right more than you want to be happy. If your way isn't working, then you don't want to be right. You want to go, do I want to continue in this?
Yeah.
Or am I willing to have something else? Because our part is just to become open, not to supply the answers,
There you go.
but to become open.
Right.
Not to supply the answers, but to become what? Open.
Open.
Yes.
I'm not afraid to ask my question now.
Thank you.
But I am one of those analytical, serious people that today has realized that I've been coming to this, taking my little notes, vigorously, so that I can figure this out.
Okay.
And I'm trying, and in saying it, I feel like I'm not allowed to think that, and that I'm judging anyway.
Okay. Good. You realize who's judging?
Yeah, but okay.
Mm-hmm.
So back when you said that all the thoughts I deny become the world that I live in, what about the thoughts that okay, so now I'm thinking about conscious thoughts, subconscious thoughts, all the different kinds of thoughts. How do I know which ones to filter? How do you filter these thoughts? And it doesn't, how can it be this simple? It's baffling that it could be this simple to just go by feelings. I'm a little confused.
Right, it's actually the simplicity of it is what we most avoid, because with the simplicity of it, you end any excuse for not doing it.
Yeah.
Complexity gives you endless time to not apply things because it's really complex. Like for instance, when you were just saying, you know, how do I filter it? That is the whole purpose. Here's how I filter it. If I'm looking at everything around me and I think one person is more important than another, then I know that I can expect some disharmony to show up in my life, so I shouldn't freak out when I experience the disharmony because I was just told that that all are essential. Then my action would be in harmony. See, I could not do the filter if I didn't have a filter guidance. See, the reason why you follow whatever your spiritual path is, and it doesn't have to be this, is that it gives you the information you need to make those kind of choices. It's not going to be something you're going to do on your own. It was like I was talking to a person in a counseling session, and I was saying that you're getting ready to go to a brand new relationship, but you have what you consider to be a challenge in other relationships that you've had. What have you done between the time you had the last relationship and this one other than wait for the next person? I pose it as a question. What have you actually done to actually change your thinking about relationships? What have you studied? What have you read? What is the teaching that you're using? What is the attitude that you're getting ready to take into this? Because most people will say stuff like, well, I just kind of went inside and I spent a lot of time to myself. Oh, that meant that you spent a lot of time reinforcing the ideas that you already had. Because that's all you're going to do when you do it by yourself without going to some greater guidance beyond what you've already done. Because the truth is, you can't solve a problem at the same level you created it. So you're the one that created it, so you know you need to go beyond your conscious thoughts in order to get the new perspective that would give you a new thing. But that's not the way adults think, because adults have been programmed to think that what makes you mature is how much you figure it all out on your own without the help of anyone else, which is the greatest con that adults have ever been faced, and that's why adults usually be more miserable than children or people who are young. Why do you think adults don't know how to play? Why do you think adults tend not to be so serious? It's because they've been listening to themselves, right? So the importance of using the notes that you've taken will teach you how to tell the difference between what direction you want to go in. But everything you see represents some thought within your mind. So then it becomes, which thoughts do I want to side with? Which people do I want to side with? What beliefs do I want to side with? What truth do I want to side with? That's how you tell the difference between the two.
But my beliefs don't matter. They don't affect the truth or
No,
reality.
but your beliefs affect the way you feel, the way you see things, and the way you experience things. So therefore, it's not complex. Everything you're feeling right now is coming from exactly what you're telling yourself right now. Everything you're feeling sitting in that chair is not coming anywhere else but from what you are telling yourself right now. So your beliefs do affect you, but they don't have any effect on what's real. So the truth is, so what now?
How do I eliminate all thought?
It's not about eliminating all thought. It's about choosing for love. It's about choosing for peace. It's about choosing for truth. At what point did you hear anything said that you need to eliminate all thought? The only thing you've heard was that you needed to choose for love, to decide you want something else other than to go in the feeling that you've already been in. See, what makes the change is to develop the ability to hear what you're studying. Learn how to hear what you're studying, as opposed to interpreting what you're studying, as opposed to making up things that you're studying didn't say. Like I've had people say, Earl, you said that you could never have a special relationship. You did not ever hear me say that. You said, I said that you could never have a special relationship. You are listening to what you are telling yourself about what I said. And so what I'm doing now is, I'm listening to what I'm, like for instance, here's a practical expression of what we're talking about. All right. If you believe you and your brothers are here in a state of reprisal, having fallen from grace, then all action will be out of harmony. So how do I make that practical? Anytime I feel like I have fallen out of grace, I will experience disharmony.
Yeah.
You just heard, all you heard me say back to you was what was on the page, but did you not hear it? I'm in a state, I am out of harmony whenever I think I have fallen out of grace. So when I am out of harmony, what I should remind myself of is that for some reason I think I have fallen out of grace. What you want to do is start to use the new interpretations that you're learning and apply those new interpretations to the things that you're going through. Let me give you an example. I'll keep giving you examples because what is making it complicated is not that what I'm saying is complicated. The Course says what's making it complicated is you are afraid of what this is offering you. That some part of me is afraid of love. Some part of me is afraid to accept that I'm innocent. Some part of me is afraid to accept that I need each and every one of you as much as I need anybody. See, if I'm afraid of what it's saying, then it becomes complicated and hard for me to understand. The complication is coming from me not being clear about what I want. The complication is coming from me not being clear of what? That I want to know that I value each and every one of you as much as any other. In other words, I have to want for the truth to be true. At some point, I have to say, you know what? Even though I have all my specialist stuff, I want it to be true that everybody's equally valuable to me and in my life. See the difference? Yeah. Even though I have my specialist desires, and even though I have a complex mind, I want the simplicity of the truth. Yeah. See, that's the way you do it. You go, I'm totally confused, but I really want clarity. That's your responsibility. Your responsibility is to simply decide what is the idea that you want to side with. Once you decide on the idea you want to side with, which is in this case peace and harmony, then everything, and I repeat, everything in reality will start to show you the truth of the direction you want to go in as soon as you want to go in that direction. So the easiest way to get past a block is to reaffirm what it is that you want that the block seems to be coming up blocking. Right. Okay, it's like, oh, I have a financial block. Okay, well then what I should really want is to know my abundance beyond this block.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the block is there because I'm afraid of abundance. Maybe the block is there because I am afraid of being wealthy. Maybe the block is there because in my misguided belief in spirituality, I think you're being spiritual when you don't have wealth and abundance. Because a lot of poor people got that stupid belief, right? You know, which is really funny to me. It's like, how are you going to really help somebody if you don't have anything to give? It's like, so you got a bunch of poor people saying that they're going to help everybody. You don't have anything to give. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot easier for me to feed 1,000 kids in Africa if I can send some money or help buy the food that they need. To be being poor is not going to help anybody. So what I'm saying. It's like there's a part of us that's been programmed that spirituality equals poverty. So if someone says to you, this is going to make you rich, then the part of you that feels like it's not okay to be rich is going to say it's hard to be rich. It would be very complicated to become rich because you don't realize that you're coming up with the complication because you're actually afraid of the wealth. So the complicated relationship is the relationship where the person is actually afraid to join and they're afraid to be in a relationship and they're afraid of intimacy, but they don't want to own that. So it's got to be so complicated and so horrible that they really would open up, but I can't trust this person. If I could trust them, I could open up. They don't realize you're creating the untrustworthy person because you're afraid to open up. And they give you an excuse for never trusting anybody.
You don't trust yourself.
So you don't trust yourself. See, that's too simple. So the mind has to make it more complicated than that. That's too simple. I'm afraid of intimacy, so I create relationships where I don't ever seem to be close to the person I'm in a relationship with. But I project that it's their inability to be intimate is what the problem is. So it's always the other person that's the problem when you're afraid to have the answer. When you're afraid to have the answer, it's always somebody else's fault. When you are afraid of the solution, it's always somebody else's fault. When you are afraid of the solution, I'm going to say it over and over. When you are afraid of the solution, you'll be saying it's something else that's creating it but you. That's deep, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to accept.
So, okay, so I get it's me. It's not them. What do I do? I'm totally afraid of everything you just said.
What you do is you keep on telling yourself the truth regardless of how you feel about it.
So side with the belief I want. I'm not afraid of love. I'm not-
Side with the belief you want, which is the belief, which is a love is available to me. I'm willing to have love. I want love. I want to know love. I'm scared as I can be of love. I'm scared of anybody getting close to me. I have a lot of misperceptions about intimacy, but I want to know what love is. I want to experience what love is. I want to side with the idea that I can have love and I can have love safely, and I do it by saying, what would it take for me? What would it take for real love to safely show up in my life in ways beyond my wildest imagination through the divine? What would it take for love to show up in my life that's totally safe in ways beyond my wildest imagination through the divine? You live in the question. You let go of this idea that you've got to figure it out, and you start siding with ideas that you want to see happen, which is easier than trying to figure out the unknown. So why would a person continue to try to figure it out? Because they're afraid to have what they're asking for. If someone tells you how to have something and you choose not to do it, isn't it obvious that you obviously don't want it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, it's so obvious that the man goes, whoop, beep, beep, what you mean? It's like, well, yeah, I've just told you that the key to getting in the car is under the mat. And all you have to do is side with that idea, agree with it, and go, I'm going to go look under the mat and get the key. But this is not what we do. We go, what is the mat? Where did the mat come from? Who made the key? Is the key real? Who made the key? We quiet because I'm afraid to get the key to open the door because I'm afraid of what's in the house.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna come up with a million reasons why I can't. So if you were tonight and I tonight, if we tonight were to just walk away with the idea that complication is a reflection of the fear of the goal. Complication is a reflection of the fear of the goal. Complication is a reflection of the fear of the goal. And the more afraid I am of what I'm asking for, the more obstacles will appear. The more I'm afraid, like it's like the Republicans and the Democrats had a ton of obstacles simply because they didn't want to join.
Right.
And as long as they didn't want to join, everybody could keep coming up with reasons why it couldn't work out.
Sure. Yeah.
But it eventually got to the point that they know if they didn't get this out, their butts was going to be voted out of office. And so the compromise came up. But the compromise was just a reflection of, at some point, they realized it was in their own best interest to join on some level to get things done. So the once they decided to join, the answer came in 24 hours. That could have happened 6 months ago. That could have happened 7 months ago. That could have happened 8 months ago. In the end, the solution came from joining, even if it was at a pitiful level, right? Then staying separate from each other. So the lesson is not who was right or who was wrong.
Right.
The lesson is, what did they do that produced any sort of a solution? And what they did to produce any sort of solution is what we all must do to produce a solution.
Sure.
They decided to join at some level in order to get the thing solved. That's what happens. And so in any situation, all you have to do is say, do I want to join with this idea? Do I want to side with this idea? And if you decide that you want to side with the idea, spirit, the universe, everything in your reality will start to rearrange itself to show you the truth of the direction you want to go in. But you won't know that's true until you do it. You won't know it's true until you do it. You won't know it's true until you do it. You got to do it. You got to do it. You got to say it. You got to use it. You got to apply it before you see the truth of it. It has to be applied before you see the truth of it. It must be applied before you see the truth of it. It must be applied before you see the truth of it. It's got to be applied before you see the truth of it. I'm going to finish up on yours right there.
Okay, so when you were saying, you're saying I have all these issues with fear of blah, 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 these bad relationships, past history of troubles in relationships, and then, all you've done in between is wait.
The question was, what have you done to change your mind about relationships? What have you done to change your mind about how you do relationships before you go into the next one?
Right.
Okay.
Which, I mean, I agree my whole life. It's just, all I've done is just wait for the next one to come
Right.
and wonder, be baffled. Why is this happening again?
I know, we all do. Isn't that something?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, that's all they're
But you're here now,
They're
though.
not-
That's a part of the.
Well, hold up, David. Let us share.
So what I'm just trying to get to, I just want some affirmation, I guess, that the answer in working on that is
Mhm.
to, what would it take for loving into
Yeah, what would it,
and
yeah, what would,
decide-
fill in the blank, yeah, what would it take for,
Yeah, and then just to side with,
yeah, what would it
beliefs
take?
that I want.
Yeah,
Because when
yeah,
you're talking
yeah,
about, you know,
yeah,
like fear,
yeah,
complication
Yeah.
is a reflection of fear
Right.
for the goal.
right,
So, but I can't help really that I'm afraid because the old world has spent 35 years building that
Mhm.
stuff in
Okay,
me.
okay.
And so,
Mhm. Mhm.
I have the fear and I identify the fear and
Uh-huh.
I don't want to have it anymore.
Mhm.
But I know it's there.
mm-hmm.
So, is it really that simple?
Yeah, it really it's as simple as deciding on the direction that you want to go in, and then once you decide on the direction you want to go in, then the how begins to present itself. I decided I wanted to fly to Memphis, once I was clear I wanted to go to Memphis, the way to get there presented itself. Airlines, people picking me up. But I wouldn't have even seen that until I decided to go to Memphis. It was only when I decided to go to Memphis that the airlines became relevant to me, right? So once you really get clear about what you want, then the way to achieve it will start to be revealed to you if you stay aware, here you go, if you stay aware of what you want, instead of focusing all your attention on how to get it. The attention must be focused on what I want. I want to go to Memphis. Oh, the airlines. I want to go to Memphis. Oh, this is the schedule. I want to go to Memphis. This is how much it's going to cost. See, if at any point I had forgot I wanted to go to Memphis, then all of a sudden I would have got confused and would have been a lot of problems, and maybe I would have got a ticket to Philadelphia. You see what I'm saying? So what was more important? What was more important? What was more important? What was more important for me to remember what my purpose was, or trying to figure out how to get there?
Right.
The purpose. Because how to get there was the airline. But if I didn't know I wanted to go to Memphis, what good would it have done to know that an airline could take me somewhere? Great, an airline can take me somewhere. But if I didn't know where I wanted to go, then the airline has no relevance. So the how doesn't have any relevance, the airline, until I know what I want to go to Memphis. And that's all this is telling us, that the ones we want to know we're essential to each other. The ones we want to know that unity is our goal. The ones we want to accept that there is something greater than us to follow. Then at that point, everything that will show us that that's true will start to present itself. But what does the ego mind do? It wants absolute assurance of everything before it does anything. So the ego mind wants to be completely assured that everything is going to work just wonderfully, though I have not attempted to do any of it yet. So it's not complicated unless you are afraid to have what you want. If you're not afraid, then the way to have it will start to present itself. There's not one single problem that you can come up with or tell me about that was not addressed in the course of love. There's not one thing you can come. If you read these 3 books, there is not anything you're asking me about that it would not answer. So the answer is the how is already presented. So we right back to the same thing, right? I want another way to look at love. Okay, here is a course in it. Okay, but I'm still not having love in my life. You haven't studied the course. You haven't applied the ideas from the course. You've been analyzing whether you should apply the ideas from the course. But how can I apply the ideas from the course if I've never ever studied or looked at the course? But that is so I'm supposed to get the answer, and the solution is supposed to work because I'm entertaining the idea of it being true. And it's like, no, you decided you want to know what love is. A course, which isn't the only one, there are many other ways, has presented itself to you so that if you study it and apply what it says, you will experience the love you've been wanting all your life. So you had the goal, and then the how presented itself. But here's the challenge. I've got to be willing to surrender to information that may be beyond what I already think and I already know. So, and that's what it's saying. Would you entertain the idea that what you know may not be all there is to know? Not only that, but what you know, it doesn't work because you're not happy. And you don't have the love. So don't even defend your way of looking at things for 5 friggin' seconds. Because it's slowing down your good. But my ego gets insulted. The Course says it. It says the ego gets totally insulted when you say stuff like, don't use your ego learning. It tells you. It says when your ego is going to get really, really upset about this. The part of you that thinks it knows is going to get really, really upset about this because you've been taught that the true measure of maturity is how much you can make decisions and come to conclusions without any help from anyone. And so you decided you want to be a spiritual seeker. And a spiritual seeker is someone who is saying to the universe, I am ready to recognize I am not alone. A true spiritual seeker is someone who's going, I'm ready to start to join and connect. Okay, so what happens? He says, well, you're going to be presented with things then that you can't do alone. That's how you come to know you're not alone. How? Well, you're going to be presented with things that you can't do by yourself. That's how you learn you're not by yourself, Earl. If I kept giving you things that you could do by yourself, it would just reinforce the idea that it's you by yourself, right? Yeah. Okay, now that you said you want to join and you want to join with something greater than you, you're going to now be presented with things that you can't figure out, that you can't do by yourself, that you're going to have to ask for guidance and help on. So that's why when someone says something like, you have to love everyone equally, we go, how in the hell I'm going to pull that off? Because you can't. You can't pull off loving everybody equally on your own. You can only do that with help, with guidance, with a new way of looking at things. So the mere fact that we've said that we want to grow spiritually, we don't realize it, but we set it up where we're continually going to be presented with situations that seem to be impossible for us to handle alone. Because you're ready to learn now that you're not alone, that you do have help, that you do have guidance, that there is a higher power, that you're not alone. How is that going to happen unless you're presented with stuff you can't do alone? So at the point you can understand that you have come to the end of the spiritual path where you figure things out, the sooner you have peace about the next level of your spiritual growth. The once you get that you're now on a level of consciousness that's so high that you can't figure it out on your own is a good thing. It means you've actually achieved the highest level of consciousness that a being that thinks that they're separate can possibly achieve. Really? Yes, the highest level of consciousness, according to these teachings, that a person who thinks they're separate can achieve is to get to the point that they're beginning to entertain the idea that they might not be alone and that there is something greater than their own ego that they can turn to. You've done it on your own. We've done it on our own for millennia, lifetimes. We've tried to do it on our own. You are old jokers. You all like old, rusty, moldy souls. You know, you've been around so long, it's ridiculous. It's like you're Methuselah souls. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you're in this young body this time, but you've tried it. You've tried to do it your way over and over and over and over and over and over again. And you know there's a part of you that's going, there must be a better way. There's got to be another way. This is insane. I don't believe what the world is teaching. There's got to be another way. That's your way of knowing that you are ready now to finally have peace. You've gotten to the point that you're saying, whatever the world says, I'm going to do just the opposite of it. Whatever the world teaches, I want to do just the opposite of it. Whatever fear teaches, I want to do just the opposite of it. Whatever a person who doesn't know anything about love is trying to tell me, I want to do just the opposite of it. A person who has no idea of what abundance truly is, I want to do just the opposite of what they say. If the world says it's all about exclusive love, where you don't love anybody else but one person, I know the truth must be a love that's inclusive, that includes everybody. It's got to be the opposite from what we taught, if we're going to have an opposite result, is what it says. Right. How am I going to get an opposite result if I'm doing it the way that the world does it? Right? Think about it. It's just so logical. It's so simple. It says it's simplify your consciousness. Simplify your consciousness. Simplify your consciousness. Simplify. How do I do that? Decide on the direction you want to go. Side with the ideas you'd like to see happen. Put things in the form of a question and be willing to entertain the idea that there's something greater than yourself that can guide you. Very clear, very precise instructions. Where do I start? Well, you could start with the very book that you say you're interested in, and that's why you're in the class. That would be a good place. Or throw the joker away and find one that does interest you enough to actually do it. Because the path that you don't want to study ain't your path. The path that you don't want to study ain't your path. But you do have a path, and the path will reveal itself, but it ain't the course of love. If there's no inspiration to study it, it ain't the course in love. These classes are just something that complemented, supplemented, help give you maybe some new perspectives, but it's not your path. Your path will be something that you will feel compelled to do, you'll feel inspired to do, you will want to do, even when you have resistance, you will still do it anyway. You read something that makes you mad and you still go, I'm going to do it anyway. So get your path, get a 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 path. Stop teaching yourself. 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 Turn to an intelligence that's greater than yours. Turn to a new way of looking at it that's different from what you've already learned. How do I do that? How do I do that? Ask, what would it take for my perfect path to show up in ways beyond my wildest imagination? What would it take for my perfect spiritual path to show up in ways beyond my wildest imagination through God? What would it take? Put it in a question. Asking you shall receive. Because just merely asking is your acknowledging that there's something to ask. Still is a symbol of your willingness to trust in something greater than yourself is your willingness to ask a question. A person who's conclusionary is a person who's not getting in touch with a higher consciousness. The person who says, I know how it is, I understand everything, but it's not working out. And they don't see how utterly ridiculous a statement like that is. Right? Okay, so I'm getting ready to stop. You had something you want to say right quick before I...
I'm terrified to. I'm not going to.
Okay.
No, I mean, it's you have answered it, and
I'm on your side.
Okay, let me see if I can do this kind of quick.
Okay.
Two people locked together in a room. You've chosen your side. I don't know how to do this. They're not ready. They're not ready to hear the truth. They're not living in the truth. They're not living in love. But it's just you and them. Okay. You've reached basically what seems to be a dead end.
Right.
With that person.
Right.
I'm not doing this right, but I'm going to try to
okay,
get
so
what I can.
It's okay. Just say it.
What's the best you can hope to get out of that, or do you just walk away?
If I was in a situation like that, well, first thing I would do is let go of the idea that I know what's best for the other person to begin with.
Yes.
The first error is believing that you even have something to offer them, that if they don't accept it, then somehow or another there's a problem here. Okay, so I've forgotten that the same power that's awakening me is the same power that's in them, and that the same power that's in me is also guiding them, and I would trust enough to give them to that power and then apply the truth as best I could to myself. And not be about how can I get somebody else to apply it. So if you were really practicing the truth, you would release them and you would give them to God. You would give them to the higher power. You would say, what would it take for this person to recognize the truth for themselves?
And then you turn around and go your own.
If that's what your inner guidance tells you to
like
do.
That.
But what you want to do is you want to get in the habit of asking your guidance what to do. Your guidance might say, stay there. Your guidance might say, walk away. I can't tell you what your guidance would tell you, but the lesson is to get in the habit of asking your inner guidance.
How do you get in touch with
Okay,
that?
so
You get in touch with your inner guidance by learning what is not your inner guidance. And your inner guidance is not fearful. Your inner guidance is not about attack. Your inner guidance is not going to tell you one person is more important than another. Your inner guidance is not going to tell you to attack. Your inner guidance is not going to tell you that somebody else is to blame. Your inner guidance is not going to tell you that the answer is outside of yourself.
Fearful, you know, is not from your guidance.
Yes. Now notice how I'm running down what my inner guidance would say. Why am I able to do that? Because I learned what it says about how love communicates and how fear communicates. It wasn't something I made up. It was my willingness to study my path, trust what my path is telling me, and my path is telling me if this is instruction coming from your Holy Spirit or your higher self, Raj, it's going to be guidance that when you really hear it correctly, you're going to feel more peace, and it will not entail attack. That's how I'll know if I'm, in other words, I wouldn't have known that if I had not been told that. If I had to say, well, I'm just going to go figure it out, I'm going to go to the forest and figure this out on my own, then maybe that could have worked, I don't know. But it would be a lot easier if I would just go to the instruction manual, then go out in the forest. You know what I'm saying? It's like if I want to know how to bake a cake, it would be a lot easier for me just to get the recipe book and follow it than it'd be, I'm going to learn how to bake a cake, so I'm going to go to the park. How do I? Okay, and I'm going to look within, and I'm going to see how to bake a cake. That's the way we do it. It's like that's what it's like when I hear a person say, "Well, I'm going to go. I'm just going to go within." Well, okay, that's great. It's good to go within, but how do you know whether what you're hearing is correct? Well, you need to have some guidelines to how to tell whether it's God's voice or your voice. And that's what all the spiritual teachings do. The spiritual teachings teach you how to discern when you're listening to the voice of truth and when you're not. And it's already done. It's not even where you have to figure it out. It's already friggin' done.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
So is it our ego then that prevents us then from asking for that guidance?
Exactly. It's the part of us that doesn't believe that we deserve to be happy. It's the part of us that believes that we need to be in conflict because we're sinful and guilty and bad. Very few kids grew up hearing that they were whole and complete and perfect and wonderful. That's just, think about it. The average child didn't hear that from the average parent, right? So that idea that you were given as a child becomes part of your idea of who you are. And then you start to create a reality that reflects that. If I learned that I wasn't enough and that I was pitiful and I wasn't loved, then I'm going to create situations in my life that validate that for me. But it's just a reflection of a belief. So how do I change it? I need new beliefs. Where are the new beliefs? In the spiritual path that you're choosing. Well, how do I know I'm not ready to change yet? I'm not ready to open the recipe book yet. That's how I know I'm not ready to bake the cake yet. But you need to convince me that I need to open the recipe book and that I even want the cake. Well, that's the problem. You need to be clear you want the friggin' cake. Yes, I do want the cake. Oh, well, here's the cookbook for the cake. How much do you want the cake? Do you want the cake enough to use the cookbook? Yeah, I want the cake enough to use the cookbook. Well, brother, I know you really want the cake.
And how fast do you want it?
And how fast do you want it? You can microwave it. You can nuke it. You know what I'm saying? So how fast do you make it come? How fast it shows up? Check this out. How fast it shows up is in direct proportion to how much you wholly desire it. How fast it shows up is in direct proportion to how much you wholly desire it. How fast it shows up is in direct proportion to how much you wholly desire it. And so the Course says that to wholly desire is to create. So anything you want to create fast, you just have to want it without any opposing thoughts. So you can't say, I want a relationship, but I'm afraid of relationships. I want prosperity, but I hate rich people. I love to have friends, but I sure do like to not extend to people and talk to people. I'm kind of a loner. At some point, you're gonna have to stop opposing the idea with its opposite in order to see it manifest quickly. So the Course is saying to us, be 100% desiring to have love, to have peace, to have unity, to have truth. If that becomes your desire, everything in your reality will start to validate that desire and allow you to have that desire. It'll seem like magic. It'll look like your life is becoming magical to you. It will. It will, because you deserve it.
Yeah.
You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it.
Yes.
You don't deserve it because of what you've done. You deserve it because of who you are.
Yes.
You're an unlimited child of an unlimited creator. You are a child of love. You deserve it. Don't believe that crap that you were told is to the contrary. You can say, oh, I hear that crap. Oh, go ahead, crap, do your crap. Crap, you can do better than that. Come on, this is old crap. I've been listening to this crap for years. Right? Yeah, so what do? You don't even deal with it. You don't spend 5 minutes trying to get rid of the crap. All you do is keep focusing on what you want, and it will take you beyond the crap. Just don't worry about the crap voice. Leave the crap voice alone. Let the crap voice do its crap voice thing.
Microwave.
Yeah, let it do its thing. But in the meantime, I don't deserve love. I'm siding with the idea of love. You don't deserve love. I'm deciding with the idea of love. You don't deserve companionship. I'm siding with the desire of being connected and having relationships. I'm going to, I hear your voice. Good, do your best. That's great. You innocent, but I'm going to. That's where you don't go, oh my God, how can I get rid of this voice? This is such a horrible voice. What am I going to do with this voice? What are you doing? You are focusing all your attention on the very thing you say you don't want, and then that voice gets louder and louder. Why? Because it's the voice I'm focused in on.
Yeah,
But if
right.
I'm listening to the voice that says, hey, you want that love, you want that peace, you want that joy, you want that love, you want that peace, you want that joy. What? You want that love. Then the other voice is like, what? Because I'm not focusing on it. I'm not attacking it. I'm not trying to control it. I'm not trying to get rid of my hateful voice anymore. I'm not trying to get rid of my judgmental voice anymore. I'm just focusing on the goal. Let that voice say what it wants to do. You've heard it all your life. It ain't new. It ain't new to none of us.
Right.
But what is new is for me to say, I don't care how insecure I am, I'm asking for the security that's real, and what is the security that's real, and how can I get the real security to show up? And what is real security, by the way? And I want it to show up in ways beyond my wildest imagination. You know what? What would it take for me to receive a solution to this problem that I didn't even think of? What would it take to have this issue resolved in my life right now, even though I don't know how to resolve it? What would it take for this to be resolved right now, even though I don't know what the solution is? See, when you start to get conscious, you don't make your understanding a condition to have the solution happen. You stop making your understanding the important part of the equation. And you start saying, in spite of the fact that I don't know what love is, what would it take for somebody to show up in my life who really could express it and help me know it? Even though I think I don't deserve love, what would it take for someone to show up in my life to witness to me that I do deserve love? See, I'm not making it a condition that I know how to get the perfect person. What I'm doing is asking for how that can show up in my life in spite of the fact that I don't know how it can come. Did you hear that, Earl?
Yeah.
Did you hear everything that you said? Do you know it's for you, first and foremost, more than anybody else in the room? You're the one that needs to stop trying to do it on your own.
Can you repeat everything you were saying?
It'll be on the website. So can we acknowledge ourselves?
That
Let's do the love offering. I'm on your side.